Promise I'm not going to be on here long, only because I have fallen short of two garden tasks that I said I wanted to do over the last couple of days, and I am totally giving myself some grace for the simple fact, y'all. Um, I have returned to the office, and so I used to get up at 6:30. Now I have to get up at 4:30, and I have to drive to the heart of Atlanta, and so a lot of things my body is adjusting. I told Chris today. I said I am exhausted. I know it's Friday, and I know I like to stay up late, but I am going to have to go to bed. My body is telling me get some rest. Like, don't push yourself. And that's where I'm at now in this season. Listen to your body. If your body tell you to do something, do it. Okay. And so I'm listening to my body, and I am probably going to have to roll over the two tasks that I wanted to do this week. I'll probably roll it over to tomorrow because I actually took tomorrow off. But this is what I wanted to share with you really quickly. So you saw the title of this video. So y'all know that when I start seeds, people are like, why are you starting so many seeds? I start at least about 25% more than what I think I'll need. Because we planted up these patio containers. We did a video on it, and we planted them up. They're growing, but this is what I wanted to show you, which is why I got to readjust. So we planted the calabracoa. This is the patio tomato, some bonsai basil. We had the garlic chives here. But if you remember in the video, and I'll make sure that I link it once this video has rendered and is uploaded, I'll make sure I linked it because I put two marigold right here, okay? This container right here, we got our cucumbers growing. I want to train them up the trellis. So all I put was the cucumbers, but wait a minute, y'all, we put two marigold right here. I'm really thinking, I used to be like, oh, it's probably not the roly-polies, or y'all call them soul bugs or pill bugs. I'm starting to think it's them. I'm starting to think, if y'all can see, they want to go down now, but they've ate them to the nub. And one lady asked me a while ago, she said, how do you know when it's time to pull a plant or that a plant is not going to make it? And my answer with her, because this is so perfect timing, is when you don't have any green leaves on here, just pull it, because the plant gets a lot of energy through its leaves, and it's really none. Right here, they've eaten this like all the way down. I just saw two of them huddled up together like they weren't doing anything. This one is gone. Like, it's no greenery, no anything on here. But I'm not worried, because when I started these inside from seed, I planted like probably about 40 marigolds. But here's the thing. So these right here were called triple threat marigold. Now I'm looking in the back, y'all. I only have one triple threat, but I do have a lot of Proud Mary, and I got a lot of, I want to say, African marigolds that I'm still going to put right here, because the main purpose of me putting the marigolds right here, it was to serve not only as color, but it was also to serve as companion planting, to try to help with the pests for my tomatoes right here, and also for my cucumbers. The time with it giving off a smell, it will still do good, but y'all know, and we're going to have some more discussion about companion planting, because a lot of people a lot of people have been asking me about companion planting. And this is what I want to share with you. Like, I do put thought in it, but I don't put so much thought into it to where I don't plant. So like, for example, if they say don't plant just two different plants together, then I'm like, okay, but it won't stop me from planting, if that makes sense. So I don't spend a lot of time just really trying to get too scientific with it, because y'all know I am a gardener that tests. Like a lot of people I've shared with y'all said you need to lift your dahlias up. And not only was it like a time thing, so time kind of ran out on me, but I also wanted to see myself like, okay, I'm in Atlanta now. We got red clay soil. So let me just see if they'll make it. And most of them are coming back up. So don't spend so much time trying to get so scientific with companion planting that you don't plant anything at all. And so my one classic that I always do is tomatoes, basil, and marigold. Like you'll see that all over the garden. I walk out here in a raised bed that we just planted. So Monday, when I left Atlanta from work, I was okay. I came out here and I said, you got to do at least one raised bed a day. So I pulled that where we had a lot of leafy greens at, and I did, and I was okay. Yesterday, which was Wednesday, I think the 4:30 getting up, the working all day, the traffic in Atlanta, I think that really kind of like got to me. And then today I woke up at 4, couldn't snooze because I couldn't go back to sleep. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to bed early. But that's why I wanted to share this with y'all. I know it's them. I think it's them. I think, a lot of people say they have a problem with pill bugs and roly-polies. And I used to say, well, I don't think I really have a big problem. And these were a good size, y'all. But let me tell you what I'm going to do. So when I get off of the live, I'm going to open up that workshop right there. And I have some food grade diatomaceous earth that I'm going to sprinkle on here. Now, understand that when I first planted these, I did sprinkle the diatomaceous earth on here, but we've had about 5 days of rain, with the ending being yesterday morning. So when I was going to work, it was still a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of rain. And I always share with you all that food grade diatomaceous earth is great. However, if it rains, you're going to have to reapply. So it rained for like 5 to 6 days straight. And so now I'm going to have to reapply. I really feel like this is the culprit of why my marigolds look like this. And so, like I shared with you all, it's no saving this. Like, it's gone, in my opinion. Some people might say, this might grow back a little bit or something like that. These are all the way, like, this is down to the stem. It's no green. This is where you get your energy at. Look at them, y'all. You see them? This who did it. This is exactly who did it. It was like 2 or 3. So they're eating them down, but we're going to do the food grade diatomaceous earth. And like I said, they were of a good size to where I felt like when I put them out, I wouldn't have a problem. But this is why I'm telling y'all, I don't care. I've been gardening for over 20 years, but it's still things that happen in the garden that it happens. And it's nothing to get discouraged about. But I used to have a lot of people, like when I first started sharing my videos, people were like, why are you planting like a tray full of 40 or a tray full of 60? But I've always told myself, things happen in the garden. Like I could plant, let's walk out here real quick so I can show y'all. I can plant two of the same plants side by side. And sometimes one of the plants don't make it. I've given it the same conditions. I've watered it the same, but for some odd reason, it checks out. And so I feel like if you garden plan, now I haven't been like really, really, I'll sit down with a piece of paper and garden plan, but y'all know me and you know by my videos, which is why I tell you, stay to the end, because sometimes I'll pull stuff and I say, oh, I'm going to plant this right here. And then before I get done, I'm like, no, let's plant this right here. And so let me walk out and let me just share with you all, because I also did my companion planting with the marigold. That's why I took tomorrow off, y'all. I got a lot of work I got to do. I got to do some deadheading. Another thing, if you want your plants to like continue, now we're going to pull the Snapdragon. So if you're not a subscriber, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you like this, like hit the hearts. That'll let YouTube know that we're live. But I have to do deadheading on this particular salvia right here. If you want blooms all summer and spring long, you got to constantly deadhead. We're gonna pull these snapdragons up over here as well. The phlox we're gonna keep. They will come back and flourish again when it gets a little bit cooler. So they put on a big show. These are one of the first to bloom, like in the spring. So they'll put on a big show, and I gotta watch the mosquitoes, y'all. I gotta do something about these mosquitoes. When I tell you they so disrespectful out here, but they'll put on a big show in the spring, and I'll deadhead them. Now, traditional phlox, they've been known to, like, when it rains, to like really flop over. And these flocks were doing good. But like I said, we've had about 5 days of rain. And so they're taking on like the traditional flocks. You see how they've kind of like just spread out and flopped over. So that's why a lot of people put them in their garden, but it's like certain varieties that they put in there. But we're going to get a lot of the snapdragons pulled up. So I'm sharing this with y'all because I'm not going to worry about deadheading the snapdragons because they're going to end up coming up. And we had so much rain, like a lot of the yarrow is looking a little tired. But I'm going to take you over here to Pollinator Island, which I have done nothing with, and I need to. A lot of things are starting to come back into bloom, and we'll do a full video on these because I know it's going to look so good in this area. The false indigo right here, it bloomed. I shared a short on that. So they bloomed, they look good. A lot of our blanket flowers are coming back. The black and blue salvia is coming back. But this whole area right here, I truly meant for it to be a pollinator magnet, because my theory is, and I've shared with y'all, when my dad comes over here, he's like, why you got so many flowers? My theory is I want to plant flowers, vegetables, herbs all together. So especially with my fruiting flowers, when they start to fruit, and the pollinators don't have a long way to go. Like these, what are these? This is a type of salvia too. I don't know if y'all can see, like it's a lot of bees. Now they don't want to show their face. He's on here, y'all. And it's some more. They're over here, but I got to come over here with this hoe and really clean out some stuff because, I don't play about a lot of things, but a lot of things are coming back. This particular butterfly, look at the hummingbird. Bless his little heart. He loves the salvia. I see him all the time. I don't know if it's him or his friend, but I see him all the time. So once this all grows in, it's going to be like a pollinator magnet. Y'all don't look at this grass right here. I got to pull it up. But I do have to move this particular daisy right here. We're going to move that somewhere else. And I don't know the name. I'll have to get it for y'all later. But I found these. And did all of them survive? Let me see. Yep, all of them survive. I wasn't sure about those, but the butterfly bush is coming back. And the blanket flowers, they're coming back, and they're coming back pretty tall. And then again, we got the black and blue salvia. I tried to make a space to where I need to fill up the bird feeder and clean out the bird bath. So I'm hoping that over time this doesn't like block my space, but we'll figure it out because I do have to move a few of the plants. Now let's go back up, and so I can share with you. And the garlic is almost ready too. We actually have hard and soft garlic in here. Honey, it's doing some stuff up in here. Y'all know I like to keep things clear so I can see it. Some of it is garlic. Most of it is garlic. I think some of this is like the straw. Yeah, this is the straw mulch that's coming up. But I did see some garlic scapes on some of the other garlic over here. Yeah, let me be careful because I got to have a clear path, y'all. But let's go over here, and we're going to do like when I tell you a full garden tour once I get all of the beds planted. But again, if you're just joining us, I'm just trying to do about an hour to 2 hours out here a day on the days that I don't feel totally exhausted. So like I say, what I tell myself, or what I've been doing is when I come home, I got to sit down for about 20 minutes, y'all. I just been sitting down on the sofa like, oh Lord, this is temporary. I promise y'all, y'all are the first to know that this is going to be temporary, because I told Chris, I told a lot of people I don't deserve this right here. But we'll talk about that like later. Maybe on another live, maybe I'll make a video. But what I've been doing each day is I'll come and I'll clear out a whole bed. And so I think it was Monday, I came. This was a lot of the mixed lettuce that we had, the gourmet lettuce. It was the alfresco lettuce. It was the arugula. So we had a lot of lettuce in here. We cleaned all of that out. And I shared on a short that a lot of them had went to seed. But since I have so many lettuce seeds, so many, I'm like, you don't need to try to keep them. So what we put here is this is called, oh my gosh, it is a king, is it king of the patio? King of the patio tomatoes right here. So if you haven't watched the YouTube video to where we went to Home Depot, um, I couldn't resist it, Mother's Day. I couldn't. I tried to. I've started tomato plants. I got tomato plants to plant, but I just could not resist these because I'm like, they don't get that big, which is why I have the shorter. So I have the shorter plant cages or plant supports up here, because I think they get like 18 inches tall, maybe 24 inches wide, but we'll see. But I bought 3 of those only because it was instant gratification, y'all, because some of them already had like some tomatoes growing, and I'm like, oh wow, that'll be great, while we're waiting on some of the ones that we started from seed that I'll show you in a minute. So we switched this bed out, but this is a prime example of how I do companion planting. So we got our tomatoes, we got our marigolds, and these marigolds that you see right here, they were pretty much the same size as the containers that I just grew. But what I'm going to do after I get off is I'm just going to take preventative measures. So when I sprinkle the food grade diatomaceous earth in the patio containers, I am also going to go ahead and I'm going to sprinkle them in these beds right here, because I promise y'all, they were about the same size. And when they get about this size with a few leaves, enough set of true leaves on there, I'm like, okay, they can kind of fend for themselves. They weren't tiny, they weren't small seedlings, but in a matter of 5 days with all the rain, they just came and wiped them all out. So in addition to the marigold, to the tomatoes, we also have, this is called culinary basil. So it's 3 different types of basil. It's the purple basil that you see right here, the Genovese basil, and there's a lettuce leaf basil that's supposed to be in here as well. So we planted those around. The calendula, we planted these. I actually planted these, I want to say early spring, because I started these from seed right here. The fern leaf deal, one of them took a hit, but if you look at both of them right now, so earlier this year, it started to get cold, like all of a sudden it dropped. And these were taking a hit because I was hard-headed and I was like, I'm gonna put it out anyway when it was still small. But you can't even tell. I think it was probably this one that took a little hit, but you can't tell. The fern leaf deal I do have to come in deadhead. But what I can tell you is this particular variety of lavender, it is very strong. Like the fragrance is very strong, really strong. It has a very strong fragrance to it. Now, this is not the lavender that I'm growing to put in our teas, that we put in our tea blends. However, I am just like growing it maybe just for like ornamental. This is not, there's certain varieties of culinary lavender, and this I just wanted to try, because oftentimes I hear a lot of people say that lavender is a little bit difficult to start from seed. And I just want to show everybody that if you take the proper measures, then you can still do it. Now, I also propagate lavender and take cuttings, but I'm like, what I did with this particular lavender right here is I put it in the freezer to simulate winter, like cold. And the seeds are tiny, so what I did was I soil blocked it. And I soil blocked it, started it in the basement, and then just kind of kept growing it from there. So you can grow. It just needs a little bit, maybe a little bit more attention, but it's totally doable. Now, let me tell you, I just looked over here, y'all. So last year in this area, I started my own petunia seeds. And when I was planting this up, I pulled a white petunia because I put my marigolds right here. But evidently, I didn't pull enough because this purple one is coming back. I forgot what variety it was, but it's coming back. Now, I'm gonna talk to this bachelor button one more time, and I'm going to tell it to get right and stop flopping over, because if it doesn't, it is going to get pulled. It is going to get pulled. I'm gonna give it a little chance, only because it's been raining and the winds have been high. But bachelor buttons is also one that I personally put a little bit in my tea. I'll let y'all look that up with the benefits of it. But it's also pretty as a tea blend as well. And we started these from seed. And this is what I share with y'all all the time on my videos. It's okay to start from transplants. I think the main goal for all of us, the main goal I want to share with you all, is just to grow something. We just shared how I just couldn't resist these tomato plants over here. I bought those from transplants. But I've also started tomatoes from seed as well. Like, these are the big husky cherry tomatoes that we started from seed. We started these earlier, maybe around February, and now they're starting to, get some blooms on them. I really wanted to grow these myself again because last year, actually, at the Home Depot, they had the big husky cherry, and we had them in this bed over here. And when I tell you, they were so good, they were so flavorful. They are what's considered a semi indeterminate. So they'll put on like a big flush of tomatoes. They'll kind of slow down a little bit. They might not put on as many anymore, but they'll still like produce until frost. It may not be like the first initial one, but that's what they call semi indeterminate. So indeterminate basically means it will grow until your first frost. And determinate means it puts it on all at once, and then that's it. You can plant, you can succession plant, you can keep them growing, or you can put something else there. This is like a semi indeterminate, so it'll still keep growing, but you might not get like a big flush all season long. But the flavor for these was here. We started these from seed, and this is just another example of how we got peppers down here, which I'm gonna have to give some attention to. I got my basil right here. We got our grow oils in the ground. I'm gonna eventually pull these snapdragons, and then we got phlox. I'm probably gonna put either zinnias right here. In our seed kits, we had what was called Dreamland Zinnia, where it gets like 12 to 14 inches in height. So we'll probably like surround them with the Dreamland zinnias. Now the other day, so Tuesday, so this was Monday, I planted this. Tuesday, we came home and I was like, just get this bed done. This is like, I have to just sometimes come out here and talk to myself until I get my body just adapted to the 4:30 mornings. But I was like, you got to get it done. So what we planted right here, we kept these. This is the Foxley thyme. But again, I put more marigold, and I'm starting to see, look at here, look. So we're gonna come in. We're gonna come in with our, look at here, y'all. See? This is why it's important to check. See, they just being so disrespectful of my marigolds. I just can't believe the disrespect like early off. And I actually put diatomaceous earth because Tuesday we had a little rain that morning, and I diatomaceous earth down here. So I got to come in and I got to reapply it because this one, I think this one's gone. So yeah, I'm gonna come in. See, they just, I guess they trying to really try me right now, and I don't take lightly to that. Right here we got Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes are ones that are determinate, so they're going to put on all their tomatoes at once. It's great for sauces, and we did a whole video about the different types of tomatoes and which one would be best for your garden. After the video is done, I'll make sure that I get that one linked for you all as well, because there are different types of tomatoes. There's slicers, there's salad tomatoes, there's determinate, there's semi-indeterminate, there's semi-determinate. Like it's all different types. But again, don't get too caught up in all of the scientific stuff. Just grow something. I just told this lady, I met her the other day, and she was like, next year I'm gonna get my house. And I said, no, we're not. We are not about to use that excuse as to why you can't grow. What you can do is you can get you a pot. I don't care if it's a pot this size. Get you a pot, figure out what it is that you like, and put it in that pot. We're not about to say, I'm going to wait. We're not going to wait, because I'm going to do a video, y'all. So I always have like a lot of alerts on my phone. And one of the alerts that I got from Google is, I think in 14 states, a lot of the tomatoes are recalled. So this now more than ever should be, okay, let me go ahead, let me grow something. And look right here to y'all. See, that's what I'm saying. If you're not following us, follow. I'll show y'all pretty in the garden, but I'm also going to show you some of the challenges when you garden, no matter how you garden. Now, if you've been with us for a while, we really, really, really try to grow as organically as possible. And when I say or as organically as possible, I might make an insecticidal spray. I'll use the diatomaceous earth. I'll use neem oil. I will use BT. I'll use things like that. But like synthetic chemicals, no. And that's just my preference. And I tell people, I'm just upfront. You got to do what works best for you. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to encourage you to grow. So you have to do what's best, but I just try not to do it. And I'll share a story with y'all that I hope will resonate. Years and years and years ago, when we stayed in the Savannah area, I talked to this guy, and I was just having such a pest problem. And he told me to get the dust that started with a S. And I put it on there. That I felt, the minute I put it on there, oh my gosh, I felt so bad. I think for like the next year or two, I didn't hardly see any pollinators. Y'all see how we just saw that? We just saw a hummingbird. We saw bees, all of that. For like the next 2 years in that Savannah area, I didn't really see very, very many at all. And so I was like, I will not do it again. I will pull a plant like this marigold. I will pull it before, I put just synthetic stuff on there. But I always say, it's your garden. You got to do what's best for you. But I'm just here to just like encourage you to grow, and then also offer some garden tips and some things that we go through even after over 20 years of gardening. Like, we still have things that happens in the garden. But my number one thing, like, if you don't hear anything else from what I say, try to build your soil. Like, when I first got here, I got my soil tested, and I got some ways to go. It's not like one season you're going to have perfect soil. One of the things that I did when I planted my tomatoes and my peppers and my cucumbers, because we use that as a trellis, is I saved my eggshells. And so we put them through the food processor and ground them up. And so one of the things that I do is I sprinkle the eggshells in the soil as well. So let me tell you what's next. And again, y'all, the whole purpose of the video is just to share with you so let me show you my marigolds that I got extra. Is to just show you what happens in the garden. And people used to get on to me about, why do you plant so many? So these are like extra marigolds right here. These are extra peppers. These are extra tomatoes that I haven't placed yet. But just like, I know it's those sow bugs, just like they came and ate it down to a stem, or what I call a nub. The same way they did that, the same way I'm going to pop these in, and I'm going to really put the diatomaceous earth on there. I really felt when I was planting these, I said, yeah, these got enough true leaves on here. They're mature enough to where uh, even if a bug bites it, it shouldn't be that bad. And while I'm talking, y'all, let's walk over here together. Yeah, I got to get this together because these mosquitoes and then just a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so the other day, yep, I'm glad I came over here. Oh, they just doing it. That's who it is. Look at them. Look at them. When I tell you the disrespect, they love the marigold. And y'all know marigolds are supposed to be a pest deterrent, okay? So they're supposed to be a pest deterrent. And you see, they don't care. They don't care. They just crawling all around. Okay. All right. We going to get with them. We are going to get with them. Like, I've had enough just sitting up here on live with y'all. Like, you don't have to be that disrespectful. And like I always say, like, just stick to one. I don't mind you eating like one, but don't just go, look, that's who doing it. So y'all see it on camera. Look at them, y'all. It's the pill bugs. This is why I say try to identify so that you know when you identify this way, you'll know what you need to treat them with, because everything is not good for every pest. Some things are not even going to phase certain pests. They don't care. But you see them just relaxed on here. Okay, buddy. All right. Don't roll up now. Don't. I used to play with these when I was little too, y'all. Don't roll up now. Yeah, he was just relaxed. And you see the damage that he's doing? Now imagine over the last 5 days, they've been posting up on my marigolds. And they've just been, hello, Maria Splendid Harvest. They've been posting up on my marigolds. And they've just been doing a number. That's what they've been doing. I got something for them. Y'all stay tuned. Just stay tuned. But I did want to come over here and check on these. These are little small patio tomatoes, the yellow patio. I think they get about 12 inches in height. They're not going to get big. This is why I put like a lot of them close together, because I actually, look at them. I actually am going to use a bamboo stake. So they're kind of like what you would call a dwarf variety. So they don't get really big. So I didn't want to pull out like all of my tomato cages, the big and the small, since these are really going to be like on the smaller side, about 12 inches. We're just going to get some bamboo sticks and we're going to stake them. We're going to stake them that way. And then we're going to also pull up. I think it's about time to pull up the snapdragons right here. And then also one actually ate, and they're working on my other okra. One actually ate one okra down to, yeah. It's these soul bugs. I just see them all over the place. But we are getting garlic scapes though, y'all. You see? I knew it was somewhere. I'm like, but we getting garlic. We're in Georgia. It'll be ready to pull probably in the next few weeks. I always look at those lower leaves, probably about the lower 4 leaves. Once they start browning and I'm seeing it, now they'll be ready to pull. So y'all stay tuned. We'll do a harvest of those. But I do use the garlic scapes in a lot of the dishes. They're really good to use. But we started these from seed. Now let me tell you what I'm going to work on. I might need to start some more marigolds, because as I'm walking around, because in the summertime I use a lot of marigolds in the garden. But it seems like the roly-poly's like, yeah, okay, fine. So we're going to go ahead. I want to say tomorrow. I think I'm going to combine it. We're going to combine these 2 beds and get those taken care of, because I got on my list. So the other day we harvested another cabbage, and this is how I left it, y'all. I left it just like this. But I want to go ahead and do that. We're going to make sauerkraut. I got to harvest the violas. But and then the arugula it's gone to seed. A lot of our calendula is starting to flower. And again, I use these types of calendula just for ornamental purposes. The medicinal, the one I would say with one of the strongest medicine, those are like in the herb garden. So I just use these, but we're going to replace them with, so a lot of my summer flowers is going to be zinnias, marigolds, and it's also going to be sunflower in the raised beds right here. So I'm going to step back because I am going to work on this bed, and I'm also going to work on this bed right here, getting everything pulled up. I was starting to work on this bed because if you all remember, this is one of the big husky cherry that we started from seed, and it really took a hit. Like, I was out here talking to this plant all the time because when I put it out, it took a little wind damage. It was just going through some things. It was going through some things, y'all, and I was like, you can make it. You can make it. And so after I just kind of talked to it and that rain, I'm gonna tell y'all what it was, and that rain came, like, look at it now. That's why I say plants are so resilient. I'm not gonna blame it. I'm not gonna say me. After the rain came, this is when it started perking back up, getting nice leaves. We got bachelor buttons right here. I put a few peppers right here, but we're just gonna clean this area out. The red cabbage, it's too late for it to head up. We got a lot of the moths that's flying, the caterpillar moths. They just doing a number. So we're gonna pull these up and then plant these two beds. And again, I think what I'll do, because I try not to make videos so long, is just like early spring, I just kind of did a phase. So y'all know that this is like phase 2 of the garden. Over there is like when they first built it. So we'll do like a phase 1, 2 in the herb garden and the pollinator garden, unless y'all want like a super long video, because y'all know how I can talk, honey. You know how I can talk. These peas we're going to pull right here. It's too late for them. I did harvest this side over here, but these, they were starting to grow, but it's starting to get like super hot as well. So I got a lot. I got enough of these, so I don't need to save seed. I just be honest with y'all. I have a problem buying seeds. Period. Like, I probably could supply a lot of people with a lot of seeds, which is why we sell seeds too. But I love buying seeds because I love starting seeds, and I also love starting seeds that you don't necessarily see in your area. So in your area at the big box stores, you're always going to see the same, and you're going to see what sells. That's what they're going to have. They're not going to have like moringa, which is what I start from seed. They're not going to have sorrel, which is what we start from seed. They probably won't have this amethyst eggplant that is like a little mini eggplant. So I like eggplant, y'all, but I don't, it's like, give it to, I don't have to eat it like once a week type deal, eggplant. You know, I can eat it throughout the season here and there. What I did last year with the eggplant is when I made my tomato sauce, I kind of pureed it in the tomato sauce and mixed it in like that. But it's not, you know, like I tell y'all all the time, I could eat a salad every single day. I could eat tomatoes, cucumbers, pepper, like I could eat the mushrooms, onions. I could eat those every single day. It does not bother me. But eggplant, I would probably get tired of it. Not every day. Not every day. So that's why I like starting different. I like just starting so many seeds. I like starting perennial seeds. I think that's really, if y'all just want to, if I could just be candid with you, I think that's like one of my gardening superpowers. A lot of people, me and this lady were talking because she said that a lot of people, she had a hard time like starting seeds. And so I was in, a lot of times I'll put online that I have certain transplants. So if I plant way too many and when I'm done, I'll put them online for sale. And this lady says she prefers to buy them because she just has a hard time starting seeds. And I was like, I think that's my superpower. There are some seeds that, you know, may need to be stratified, may need to be scarified. So you do need to know that. Like for the nasturtiums, I will do what's called scarify them, because a lot of seeds you have to think about. I don't know what kind of bug this is, but it look like it'll bite you bad. Because a lot of seeds, you think about animals ingest it, it goes through the digestive tract, then it comes out, and so it's just a lot of seeds. Like if you nick that coat, but I take like a fingernail file and just kind of shave it down and then like plant it. So it is some seeds that if you do, not to say that it won't germinate if you don't do that, but there are some seeds where it's like little tips that if you do it this way, like for example, the lavender. I'm not saying the lavender probably wouldn't have germinated, but after doing research and trying it, I know that when I started lavender, I put it in the freezer. Now it's about 4 to 6 weeks, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it was way more than that. Child, it was some months that it was in that freezer. It got a long winter. Same thing with garlic. Since we're here in Georgia, the first thing I try to do is find a variety that is great to grow in the South, because there's some plants that need a certain amount of what they call cold hours or freeze hours for them to be able to like produce. And so what I do with my garlic, and we've done several videos about it, is when I first get it, but this year I am going to save like my own garlic. Normally I'll buy it from King Garlic, which I will say they have a lot of varieties. Keene. Like they have so many different varieties. So a lot of times I purchase from them because I want to try these new varieties. But depending on what our harvest look like, I'm specifically going to save some, what I would call seed garlic, for me to be able to plant again in the fall. But what I'm going to do first is I take a brown paper bag, I put it in the bottom crisper drawer for about 4 to 8 weeks, because that's going to simulate cold. Because now when I was in Savannah, we didn't get a lot of days. They call them chill hours. That's what I was trying to think of, y'all. In Savannah, there was not a lot of days that was below 32. Like, I think end of January, a couple of weeks of February, that was probably your coldest. Now, Atlanta, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit colder there, but that's what I do with my garlic. I'll simulate what I would call winter, and then I'll plant them out. They'll start to emerge in the fall/winter, and then once it's cold, it kind of gets stagnant, and then like in the early spring, they'll come back up and they'll really get started. But again, if you're not subscribed, and if you are subscribed, y'all, turn your notifications on, because I really love doing these videos, because it also helps me to stay accountable, not only to myself, but to you all too. So I'm going to recap real quick. So we got one reason why I plant, and they haven't bothered these. Let's knock on this wood. They haven't bothered those. But we're going to put diatomaceous earth down. But one reason why I start so many seeds is because of incidents like this, where you got the sow bugs. We've all identified them. It's no need of me saying I don't know what it is. Yes, I do. We've seen one that was resting on it. And so, and look, again, I got diatomaceous earth down here. So we're going to get these 2 beds before Sunday, before it's time to go back to work. Jesus. We're gonna get those 2. I'm telling y'all, when I tell you this is a change, it's like a change. And we're gonna talk, y'all. Like I'm gonna be totally honest with y'all. I'm not happy about it, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. So Conscious Machine said they grew eggplant some one year. Yes, yes, thank you for putting that, Conscious Machine. Always soak eggplant in salt water brine first. When I stayed in Naples, Italy, that's the one thing that they absolutely taught me. Like, you have got to do, like they would, the way they, like, we'll just say the eggplant parmesan. So they would cut it, and then they would have like kind of like I would say like a strainer, and they put it on there, and they definitely put that salt on there, and they let it sit, and you could see how like all of the water was caught in the paper towel. But thank you for saying that. That's one thing that, because I didn't, I'll share with y'all, it's a lot of things that I eat now that I didn't grow up on. I grew up on a lot of leafy greens and a lot of beans. That goes a long way. That's what my grandmother cooked. It's gonna be 2 vegetables, 1 bread, maybe 2 meats, but at least 1 meat. But It's always going to be some type of green, some type of bean, cornbread, and whatever the meat is. It's going to be that, like, regardless. So I grew up on cabbage, turnips, um, collards. I wasn't a fan of not leafy greens. I love leafy greens. I was not a fan of rutabagas. I was not. I said I was gonna grow it maybe this fall for my dad because he loves it, but I no, I'm gonna try it again because, like I shared with y'all, broccoli was something I did not like for years, and I just had a broccoli stir fry before I came out here. Like, I'm actually starting to like broccoli. I could not stand broccoli. I was like, ugh. But I grew, and maybe because I needed to start growing my own, just like I shared with y'all about the roses. Like, I didn't like roses because I'm like, what's the big deal? I don't smell anything and I don't understand. Not until I had my first rose plant. And so, this celery, this is celery that I actually started from seed, but I'll probably end up pulling this too. And if I don't do anything else, I'll use it in my juices. I started this, but I think I planted it out a little bit too late. I planted these out early spring. And remember, y'all, remember, if you want to keep flowers coming all season long, and I'm talking to myself too while I'm talking to y'all, you got a dead head. You got you got a dead head. But we'll get those. Like, what I love about calendula is you could seriously, because I've been harvesting the ones from the herb garden that we're going to offer in our shop. What I love about that is you could seriously come and, like, just take if you have a fingernail, you could take it and, well, maybe not this variety. Look at me lying, y'all. Maybe not this variety, but the other ones, you could take it and with your fingernail and you could, like, just pop it out. It's really easier than that. And then we got some dill back here in the back. I thought I saw a ladybug back here, but let me tell y'all about that. You got to be careful because a lot of people mistake ladybugs for the potato beetles, because they look similar, but you got to look at that color. But I do think this is a ladybug. She need to go over there and get them soul bugs, but she probably like, look, get out my face. Get out my face. But yeah, we are gonna harvest this. I might not have enough because for us here in Georgia, dill is more on for cool weather, that and the parsley, but I'm still gonna harvest it because if I was doing what I was supposed to do when I said I was gonna do it, I would have been put the cucumbers out so that I can make pickles. That's like really the main thing. But you can still harvest it. A lot of times I will take it, harvest it, let it dry. I love to put dill on salmon as well. But you could just take it and dry it and just have that as a spice. Because I definitely wanted to grow dill this season, and we got it here and we got it in another part of the raised bed. Only for the simple fact, last year I wanted to make dill pickles. I could not find dill. When I did find it, I think it was at Kroger, and that little clamshell was almost $5, and I needed like 4 because you had to have so many. I was making like a big thing of dill pickles. You needed like 4, and I was like, I am about to pay $20 for these little clamshells. And this is what really helps me to know what to grow, because like when I go to the store and I get upset about the prices, I'm like, okay, we won't have to deal. I know what to do. Like, my favorite thing is I know what to do the next time because I don't have to deal with this. I can grow my own in my garden. Y'all want to, like, I'm telling you, in that clamshell, it might have been probably about this much a deal right here. And you're paying like $5. And I was like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That's not cost effective. Not to me. It's not. And I grew it. I know how it was grown, and I can make my own dill pickles with my own cucumbers that we're going to grow. So I'm going to go back up here on the patio, y'all. Hold me to it. Y'all are going to hold me accountable. We got to get these 2 done. I am going to pull the violas right here. I'm not pulling the calendula. These are like my bonbon ornamental calendulas that we started from seed. Again, if you're just joining us, I'm gonna walk back here real quick because we gotta do something about these mosquitoes. I don't know. What I love about these calendula is once the sun go down, it's actually like close up. So I'm like, okay, you got to get here in the morning, which is going to be hard now. We got the borage about to get ready to flower as well. But this is the calendula that we have on our website. This is the Resina calendula. Is highly medicinal. Let me know if y'all want me to like do a video of the calendula salve that I make. I make that really for my youngest daughter. I also make it for Chris, especially during allergy season. Sometimes Christian, which is my youngest daughter, she will break out in the pits of her, in the elbows, in the creases of her arm and like on the back of her leg. And this calendula salve is really what helps her get through. And then Chris will sometimes break out like right above his eyebrow. And I'll be like, get some of that salve and put it on there. So I can do a video because I do have some in there drying that I make like for the family. But that's not all you can do with it. Like I sell it because you can make teas with it. You can infuse different, you can make an infused oil. We did a whole short on it. It's so much you could do with this flower. If you want to put it on your salad, you could put it on your salad as well. And do that. Now these really are easy to deadhead, y'all. See, like watch this. These are easy. The other ones, I don't know what was going on with that. You see how easy that was? Like I literally can take my fingernail and just like deadhead it. These are super easy. And then we got our bee balm, which you can drink a bee balm tea, but I just use, this is another area that I also use for the pollinators as well. So these will be flowering pretty soon. I should have divided it. I really should have, but sometimes you can't worry about stuff and you just got to do what you can. That's what I tell people all the time. You can't be worrying about a lot of things. Just do what you can and just know you're doing your best. And I'll show y'all one last thing. The anise hyssop, that's flowered. So we got anise hyssop, then we got true hyssop, and a lot of people have been asking me about the lemon verbena. So we're going to start harvesting and drying this. We're also going to bring lemon balm to the website this year, which is back here, and we got some more plants. Holy basil has to go out. That's in our tea blend. Like that has to go out. And I'll make sure when this video is done, y'all, I'm going to link the free container guide because again, like I shared with the lady, don't use space as an excuse. I'm just going to be honest. You can still grow in containers and you can grow abundantly and they will flourish. You just got to figure out how you got to do it. We got 3 plants growing in here. We got a lemon thyme, we got a purple sage, we got a strawberry. You could totally grow in containers all day long. Okay, so I am going to get off of here, y'all. I said it wasn't going to be long, but we got a problem with the sow bugs. Roly-polies is what I call them. So we're going to get those up under control. But again, if you're just joining us, this is the reason why I always plant more of what I think I'll need, because instances like this. So if you only planted, if you only bought 12, if you only started 12, or if you only started 3 in this case, if you only started 3 and this will, you planned it out and then this happened, what are you going to do? So this is why I'm like, I'd rather have, what is the saying? I'd rather have than need, and than need not to have. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'd rather have than to need, or to need and not to have. But yes, that's what we do. And then I also went down to my hometown last weekend to visit my mom for Mother's Day weekend. We planted her up some geraniums. When I go down there again, I'll make sure I share that with you all as well, because we started those from seed and they're going to start growing. And the same dahlias that people told me to pull, they was like, pull them up from the ground, pull them up, don't leave them. Well, these were in the ground. This dahlia, these 2 were right here, and I saw it coming up, but I wanted my tomatoes right here, so I just put those like in a container until I figure out where I really, really, really want them. But everybody was like, you gotta pull them, you gotta pull them. Well, look like they about to bloom to me. I mean, I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying, don't go by what I say. I always tell you to test. Even if I tell y'all something, always test it out for yourself, because what may work for me, it might not work for you. You know, that's the same thing. And then I'm going to go. That's the same thing. When I was in Savannah, I was telling people what type of soil that I was getting, and it was the Pro Mix. I really like Pro Mix soil. It did good for me because it stayed so hot. in Savannah, and especially when you're growing in containers, you have to probably water more than you think because the soil is drying out faster. So I was telling everybody, hey, I like Pro Mix. And one lady was like, I don't like it. It keep my soil too wet. And it, she just said she didn't like it. And I understood because she was like up north, I think in like Minnesota, maybe. So it probably didn't get like hot and humid in Minnesota like it did here. So that's why I always tell people find what works for you. I'm going to be totally candid and honest with y'all. So the Soil 3, when I first started buying it, I was like, I don't know if I like this texture because I was really used to, it was a vegetable and herb blend at this landscape place. If you know anything about Savannah, it was in Richmond Hill, and it was reasonable. And every spring, I would go get, we would, load up the trailer or hook the trailer on, and we would go get it. And I could tell you that like my plants flourish, and it was just a nice texture. So when I got the soil, they call it soil cube, soil 3, I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I like the texture. But when I got my soil tested and I met and exceeded a lot of the nutrients in the soil, you got to stick with what works, because y'all know I always tell you, you got to build your soil. Don't be worrying about the plant so much. Worry about building your soil. And so that's what we do. Like when I planted some things in the ground, one of the in-ground reports said that I need to add lime. So every time I switch things out like this, I put lime in here. I did put a little garden tone, like the in-ground soil, the red clay, it needs like a lot of attention. But you see things are still growing. So that's why I'm saying don't get discouraged, and don't tell yourself, no, I'm not gonna grow this season because my soil report wasn't that good, and they said I needed more nitrogen in the soil. And don't do that. Don't do it. Just grow. Just grow. I'm still growing in ground. It may not be, as vibrant as maybe the raised beds, because the raised beds was great, but it's still growing. Don't y'all see these blooms on here? We finna have tomatoes in the next couple of weeks. We getting peppers. Look, we getting the snacking peppers on here. These were part of the kit too. We getting snacking peppers. So you just do what you can with what you got, but just work on your soil over the time period. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your evening. And the weekend is almost here. I keep thinking today is Friday, but it's not. It's Thursday, but it's my Friday because I don't have to drive to Atlanta. Thank God. But diatomaceous earth mixed with water and spray on the ground cover, that will get those. But yes, thanks Reptile Z, because that's what we just talked about for all of these. My little for my little marigolds, that the soba, we called them in the act, that this on the leaves resting and eating. Yeah, we about to get this diatomaceous earth on them. But again, it rained, and so you got to reapply it. Like you could see the remnants of the diatomaceous earth that we put on here. But remember, when it rains, you got to reapply because it washes it off. I even, if y'all can see back there on that leaf with the dahlia, I even put some on there because I was starting to see, little bites and things like that. When you garden as organically as possible, everything might not look all good and all picture perfect, but just know, I always say, when you grow, what you've done to it, what you put on it. And so I just try to do my best to be as organic, especially when I'm ingesting different things like that. Like I tell people, especially with herbs, with the way I love to drink a herbal tea, which I'm gonna go in here and make in a minute, it would really cancel itself out if I go putting things on there that are not supposed to be on there. Like it does that, like that doesn't make sense. Like if I'm gonna grow herbs and then I'm gonna make a herbal tea, but I've sprayed it with all kind of stuff that's not supposed to be on there. So what's the purpose? What is the sense that makes? It makes no sense. Same thing with the tomatoes. We talk about that now in the store, and the vegetables and different things like that. You ingest those things. And even when I eat, because I always tell people I'm not 100%. I work on myself every single day. So even when I might, eat a cookie or stuff, my body tells me, like, it'll do something like, you weren't supposed to have that. You know it. So I just have to be like, okay, I know I wouldn't, but oh boy, it went down good. But I wasn't supposed to have it. But I try not to do it like all the time. I really try not to do it. But sometimes, it happens. Nobody's perfect. So again, I'll try to pop on this weekend again, but y'all hold me accountable. We're going to get these 2 beds planted up. I can't tell you right now what I'm going to put in here. Y'all just saw I got a whole bunch of peppers left. I got some Roma tomatoes left. So as long as I can get something put in here, then we'll do a video. I'll probably do a video before I start pulling these snapdragons. But I am going to get these snapdragons pulled up. I've started some, I think it's rose mallow from seed, and I also started some hibiscus. They get about 2 to 3 feet that I may put right here. See, when you put this, you're not gonna see those bees and stuff like that. They just be all over the place. He's going all up in the flower, but he should probably be getting ready to go back to his hive, wherever that is. But remember, when I did that some years ago, I didn't see stuff like that. He done went all up in the flower, y'all. He just all up. He all in there. And that's what just seeing that makes it all worth it. Like, this is why I do it. And in return, y'all watch how abundant my tomatoes, my peppers, my eggplant, watch how abundant my garden is going to be this season, all because of that. You need the pollinators. Don't let people tell you that you don't need the pollinators. You need the pollinators. Invite them into your garden. So with that, y'all have a great evening, and we'll talk again soon. Bye, y'all.